Hello. As educators, we have so many amazing men and women throughout history to look to for inspiration. There are those that make us want to do more, those that make us work harder and just be all around better. There are some figures that stand out among the rest with their motivating stories that inevitably draw us to think outside of the box for ways to reach every single student, even the students in which others have found to be unreachable. Today, I am going to tell you about one of those standout individuals that I have just recently had the honor to learn about. In doing so, it is my hope that you walk away feeling inspired to go beyond what is expected of you in the educational field and walk out your personal calling to the very best of your ability. Have you ever heard the name Rebecca Protten? It may not be a household name, but in my modest opinion, it should be. Rebecca Protten was a girl born into slavery in year 1718, and through a series of events, she was sold as a child to a Christian family. This family soon observed Rebecca's conversion to Christianity, along with her love for reading the Bible. It was at an early age that Rebecca found literacy quite important as it connected her to her newfound basis of truth. Because of this, the Thomas family granted Rebecca freedom. She was no longer enslaved, and this moment would forever change her life and allow her to follow her dreams. She continued to advance in literacy, as well as her love for the Lord, and soon she felt the call. It was probably a lot like the call that educators feel all across the world, one that reminds each of us that we have a chance to change lives for the better. Rebecca's call in her life was one that would soon take her to 3 different continents, reaching the enslaved men and women still living on plantations. She would go on to teach many slaves how to read, and in doing so, she would use the Bible as a reading resource to convert them to Christianity. Rebecca was compelled to meet the literacy needs of slaves, no matter the cost. It was later that Rebecca would team up with a church in St. Thomas in order to travel to plantations and fulfill her work. Rebecca was noted as a beautiful success, and she was actually the very first African American woman to become an ordained minister. Though you may have never heard of Rebecca Protten per se, it is possible that you have heard mentioned the mother of modern missions. And if so, then you have in fact heard of Rebecca. Her missions took her across the Atlantic world, making her way onto plantations as she was compelled to teach these men and women to read in order for them to be able to seek out the truth for themselves in relation to Jesus Christ. There were so many issues within society that Rebecca faced during her time of travel and teaching, none though that could keep her from her calling. The first obstacle she faced was the fact that she was African American. At this time, most African Americans were enslaved upon the plantations that Rebecca was visiting. The second being that Rebecca was, of course, a woman, and women did not hold the same rights as men. Lastly, her vision was not only to teach literacy, but also to preach. And it was this fact that probably created the biggest barrier in relation to gender and race for Rebecca. Rebecca had to face plantation owners that did not see things the same way in which she did. In fact, literacy among the slaves actually scared the plantation owners. Rebecca probably faced further challenges that we know nothing about, but even so, she persisted anyway. When viewing the life of someone such as Rebecca Protten, the different aspects of her life can speak to each of us in a manner of ways, no matter the area of study, but most definitely to educators. We each have a calling, a mission per se, to teach and work for each and every child, no matter the challenges that we face. We don't have to travel far to find a student in need of a Rebecca, someone that will love them enough to fight for their right to learn. When we, as educators, plant the seed of learning into our students, we are purposefully setting them up to be able to seek out the truth for themselves, just as Rebecca did. Thank you.